Learn how to use the GetAllResponseHeaders method to retrieve all metadata sent back by the server. In this lesson, we're going to be looking at the GetAllResponseHeaders method, and we want to look at how we can use it to return specific header information from a resource, like the length, the server type, content type, last modify, etc. So these are some of the things that you can use this particular method to return when you make a request to a resource. So let's move into our script tag and look at an example together. So in this example, let's first make a variable and call it xHTTP. And this is going to hold our XML HTTP request object. So once we have this set, then let's call on the onload property, which is going to take a function that will be assigned to it, and this function is going to act our event, our what should I call this? This part of our code, this function is going to be like our event listener for the request that we are going to be making. So let's get elements by an ID and pass in our ID of demo dot inner HTML. And then call on this keyword dot get all response headers. So since this is a method, we pass this at the back. Now that we have this, then I can just go ahead and call on the open method and then pass in my HTTP verb of get as well as my file. So I already have a file called Ajax info.txt. So should be input. So this is the file I'm talking about. So I just have a simple text inside of it. So since in the root folder, let me prefix it with a / and I can do xHTTP.set. And you can see that immediately I clicked on I finished typing the send method, then it will return some information back to me, a bunch of information. You can see accept ranges, byte, cache control, public, max age, connection, content length, content type, chassis, the date, Tuesday, 23 June. You can see time, you can see the tag, you can see timeout, you can see last modified when I modify this file. So you can see all of this information. So when this page loads, the Ajax request, it targets this Ajax info.txt. So once the server responds, JavaScript calls this method GetAllResponseHeader to read all the hidden metadata attached to this reply. So we then drop this text block into our HTML element, which is this P element with this ID that is being passed in, so which display the raw server details neatly formatted on the screen, as you can see in this example. So this dot get all response headers here. Inside the unload function, command the XML HTTP request object to dump out every single HTTP header returned by the server. So it will return them all matched together as a single text string, with each header sitting on its own new line, as you can see in this example. And then the document of get element by ID method just pick this and then display inject it into the DOM, which then is responsible for displaying it on our screen. Here are a few key takeaways from this lesson. Number one, response header gives you crucial information about the data you just received rather than the data itself. Number two, the GetAllResponseHeaders method returns a single string containing multiple headers separated by carriage returns and line feed. As you can see that they are separated, there is a space between them. You can see content type, text slash, claim. Then there's this, what is it called? Semicolon at the end of it. And lastly, You will typically see metadata like content type, date, server, and last modifier inside this response text block. You can see last modifier, you can see the content type, you can see the server. Do we have server? Oh no, we don't have server, but we have e tag, we have other information that are all related to this particular request we are making from our Ajax unload function. So this acts as our event listener. So once this send the request, so this one will open that information that is being requested from the server, and once it has it will pass it to this, which will now be responsible for displaying it when it has completely received a successful response from the server, either through a URL or a file, just as it is the case in this particular example.